Do you have what it takes to run a Fortune 500 company?
Why, oh 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 why,
Or do you even have the knowledge to run your own startup? My name is Mohammad Ishlal, and I'm an economist turned entrepreneur turned brand manager in one of the largest consumer goods companies in the world. I have a double MBA, one from LUMS, one from INSEAD, and today I'll walk you through what an MBA really is. And does it actually change lives? Or is it just an overpriced piece of paper? Let's find out. So let's start by talking about what exactly is a Master's of Business Administration. In the simplest of terms, it's a crash course in the language of business. It touches on everything from finance to operations to marketing to leadership and strategy. It focuses on giving you a breadth of knowledge rather than deep expertise in one area. It teaches you to gather information from all across the business, clear out the distractions, and then take a decision that's in the best interest of the overall company. So who exactly should be applying for an MBA? But before I do that, I want to establish that not everybody needs an MBA. But for those who do, I put them into two main buckets. Number one, there are people who are looking to continue their jobs and advance their career and climb the corporate ladder. In industries like banking and consulting, you are required to get an MBA in order to get promoted. But then, there are people who are looking to change their jobs. These people fall into three major categories. Number one, people looking to change their country. Number two, people looking to change their sector. And number three, people looking to change their function. And just to emphasize how important this is, 80% of the last class at INSEAD ended up changing one of these three by the end of their MBA, while 25% ended up changing all three of the dimensions. So then why is everybody rushing to do an MBA? Well, the best thing about an MBA is it teaches you how to put structure to almost anything. Let's start by putting one here and talk about the top three benefits and drawbacks of doing an MBA. Number one is money. It's the salary bump. On average, MBA graduates earn almost 50% more versus their pre-MBA salaries. Without an MBA, this probably would have taken you a couple of promotions or maybe increment cycles to get to. Number two is skill development. It helps you build a basic foundation of the skills across functions of a business. At LUMS, almost 60% of my class was coming from a technical background. But post the MBA, they had the basic foundation present in order to pivot towards the management side and take up leadership roles within companies. And number three, and probably the biggest advantage there is, it's the network of friends and connections you're going to make during your degree. These connections are going to live with you long after you've graduated, and they will continue to open doors for you throughout your career. But MBAs aren't all that great. They come with their fair share of warnings. Number one being the cost. For top programs, it costs anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 only in tuition. Then there are living expenses which add on top, which could severely dent your savings. But that is to say, if you already had any, especially in this economy. And if you take into account the opportunity cost on the time you commit, especially for a 2-year program, this turns out to be one of the most expensive degrees out there. Which brings me to the second drawback, which is ROI. Sometimes the attendance cost of an MBA program would cost $250,000. And with this student debt, the amount of pressure is immense, which makes the decision of going for an MBA even more tricky. If you're able to land a job in one of the most lucrative sectors like banking or consulting, depending on the size of your loan, you might be able to pay it off in 2 to 3 years. But on average, people stay in that debt for 6 to 7 years and sometimes crossing even 10 years or more. And given that most of the people who come for an MBA are mid-career professionals, which means starting, in fact restarting your life with so much student debt, makes it a very, very, very tricky decision. Which brings me to the final and probably the biggest drawback, because it's completely out of your hands. It's the uncertainty which exists within the job market. There used to be a saying in my last workplace that promotions are not only a factor of performance, but also opportunity. And an MBA does not guarantee you a job. Post-COVID, as businesses started to expand, we saw amazing job placements for people all across the board. But once the growth started to cool down, and an escalation in political and regional tensions, we saw 2023 and 24 be an absolute bloodbath for schools all across the board when it came to recruitment. So always keep in mind, your luck will play a huge role. So don't end up blaming yourself. So when exactly does it make sense for you? If you're someone who understands the controllables and the uncontrollables within this situation, you understand the drawbacks, the high cost, the economic uncertainty. But if you feel like you understand all of that and you're at the right point in your career where this degree could transition your career into something amazing and could set up a foundation for you, then this might be the right choice for you. And in my own experience, an MBA helped me transition from being an entrepreneur to being a senior manager at one of the Fortune 500 companies. But research well and be careful with the school you pick. Understand where it's located, how strong the alumni network is, how strong the relationships are within the industry, and how much does it cost you in terms of time and money to attend that school. But most importantly, make sure you have lots of fun, because this is probably going to be the last time you ever get to be a student again, and probably also the last time you ever get to ask stupid questions without having any repercussions. And if you found even a tiny bit of this video useful, please like and subscribe. I've never done this before, but it would mean a lot to me. Until next time, bye.